Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storytime with Blimp. On today's episode, we will go and we will dive into one of Southern Illinois' most infamous creatures, known as the Enfield Horror. A very spooky creature that was first sighted on April 25th of 1973 by a man by the name of Henry McDaniel. This creature is definitely not for the faint of heart. For the people that have seen it, it scarred them for life. For those that heard it, it's very even. The description of this creature says that it stands at 5 feet and tall at the shoulder with a gray, scaly skin. Has pink glowing eyes and it has 3 legs. There's 2 longer ones in the front, 1 in the back, and 2 arms coming out of its chest area. Very creepy creature. And it all started on a spring night, April 25th in 2000, and not 2000, in 1973. During the early 1970s, something horrible stalked the small town of Enfield, Illinois. Although Illinois is already home to phenomena such as strange lights, phantom black panthers, and thunderbirds, something even stranger briefly haunted the people of the town. On April 25th of 1973, Henry McDaniel was among the first to encounter the terrible aberration known as the Enfield Horror. Coming up on the Encounters tab, Henry McDaniel's encounter. At about 9:30 p.m. that night, McDaniel and his wife had returned home and were greeted by their 2 children, Lil and Henry. The kids proceeded to tell him the tale about how some quote-unquote thing had tried to get into the house by scratching on the door. Shortly thereafter, Henry was alerted to a peculiar scratching sound at his front door. He expected to see a dog or a cat, but he was met with something far more stranger. What Henry found to his terror was a creature that had, in his words, 3 legs on it, a short body, 2 short arms, and 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights. It stood 4.5 feet tall and was grayish colored, and it was trying to get into his house. Henry was completely mortified by the sight of this terrible apparition, slammed the door, and rushed to grab his .22 pistol and a flashlight. Henry proceeded to fire on the creature 4 times, and according to him, when I fired that first shot, I know I hit. The beast hissed at him, and most sources say that it sounded rather like a wildcat. And it proceeded to bound away in long leaps across the yard. Eventually becoming lost to McDaniel's sight as he made his way towards the railroad and the cover of the trees, it is asserted that he had seen the thing cover 50 feet in 3 leaps. Stunned by the encounter, Henry proceeded to call the local police. Very creepy encounter. Upon the investigation, the state troopers discovered a series of scratches in the siding of the house and footprints that were very similar to a dog's, but having 6 toes instead of 4. 2 of the tracks were 4 inches wide, while the print left by the 3rd foot was smaller. Many on the police force were skeptical about what McDaniel had said and seen, despite having just received news of an attack on a small boy just 30 minutes earlier. The creature had ripped the child's clothes with his claws on its arms, while the talons on the toes had shredded the kid's shoes. However, the police couldn't find any trace of the entity, so things cooled down for the moment. However, on May 6th at 3 a.m., Henry encountered the creature again, having been roused from his sleep by the commotion from his neighbor's dogs. Once again, he saw the creature loitering where do you say? It was loitering about near the train tracks. This went on for several minutes. until the entity casually bounced away into the night. McDaniel later said, "I saw something moving out on the railroad track, and there it stood. I didn't shoot at it or anything. It started on down the railroad track. It wasn't in a hurry or nothing." Then, after word of the Enfield horror had got around, people began to flock to the small town in hopes of seeing the thing. They were very enthusiastic, but they were also very intrusive. This prompted the local sheriff, Roy Pritchard Jr., to warn McDaniel about keeping his mouth shut, or he would be forced to incarcerate McDaniel. Over the next few months, the crowd began to grow larger. With a larger crowd came increased alarm among the citizens of Enfield. Some among them were genuine monster hunters, while others were just hunters or thrill seekers with guns. This forced the sheriff's hand, particularly when he had to arrest 5 for shooting at a gray thing that ran into the woods. 2 of those hunters, Mike Mogul and Wood, Indiana, both swore that they had witnessed a gray monkey quickly move through the underbrush. Shard against Henry McDaniel, which should be noted, had no effect whatsoever. And Sheriff Pritchard, who was convinced that there was something. Shortly thereafter, the frenzy of hunters and tourists had died down. 4 more people saw the Enfield horror. Rick Rainbow's encounter. Rick Rainbow's encounter took place on Sunday, May 6th. Rick Rainbow, the then director of the radio station WWKI in Kokomo, Indiana. He was searching an area with 3 friends when they saw something that was around 5.5 feet tall in height, gray and stooped over, running through the woods near an abandoned house, which it was reported was nearby McDaniel's home. The entity moved with an unnatural speed and quickly vanished from the 4 men's sight. However, Rick Rainbow claimed to have recorded the creature's eerie shriek as it ran away from them on a tape recorder. Despite investigation by world-renowned cryptozoologist Loren Coleman, who is said to have heard the creature's cries, the attention that the sightings received eventually died down, and the creature hasn't been seen since. Loren Coleman told the press, "I traveled to Enfield, interviewed the witnesses, looked at the siding of the house the Enfield monster had damaged, heard some strange screeching, banshee-like sounds, and walked away bewildered." The Mount Vernon creature. Between the years of 1941 and 1942, there was a string of similar sightings in the small village of Mount Vernon, which is ironically less than 40 miles away from Enfield. These encounters involved a mysterious leaping beast that terrorized the local people, and that is supposedly responsible for numerous animal deaths and mutilations in the region. The locals called the creature the Mount Vernon monster and described it as being vaguely baboon-like in appearance and unable to leap anywhere from 20 to 40 feet in a single bound. However, this creature is likened more to the devil monkey than the Enfield monster. There is a possibility that this was, in fact, the same creature. My take on this creature, very, very spooky. It's not every day that you hear something like that. They go and they say that they look just like the devil monkey. Devil monkey I still have yet to see. But that does not go and elude from the fact that they are seeing something. Some people say it could have been a possible kangaroo that was being seen, or a chimp. But I don't know of anything that could cover that much ground like that and be that vicious. Very, very creepy. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in for this short episode of Storytime with Blimp. Be sure to share it around and tune in for the next time I go live on my YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys soon. Be sure to tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when I have the Squatch investigator, Glenn Mink, on the show. Keep a wary eye out, keep your ears to the wind, and your nose on the ground. Stay squatchy, everybody, and God bless.